Hello, welcome to White Threads FlossTube number 13. Today I am going to be speaking to you about Sardinian Knotted Embroidery. Now I know a lot of you have been waiting very patiently for this, so today's the day. Yay! I also have an embroidered piece to show you today that I'm wearing, and let's move on to that straight away. So, over the years, my twin sister and I were always very, very crafty children, and we used to make gifts for family members for birthdays and Christmas and things like that. A couple of years ago, my great aunt, Auntie Jean, died, and when we were cleaning out her things, I found a number of things there that I had made for her that she had kept amongst her treasured things. So what I am wearing today is a brooch that I made for her probably when I was a teenager, and I haven't done anything like it since, and you'll probably see why soon. So this is it. It's a little brooch. It's a heart-shaped brooch. I'm going to take it off because then you can see it better and not against the black background. Okay, so it's a ribbon embroidery piece, and it's worked on black. It looks to be just black homespun, and then on the back I've mounted it so that it's all completely enclosed in fabric, and then there's the fining on the back. So I know that I made this, and it wasn't my twin sister Prue that made it, because I still have those ribbons, bits of them left from having made it. I don't remember making it, but because those ribbons are mine and they're still in my possession, I know that I was the one that obviously made it. It's lovely to think that she kept it probably for 40 years, and that she treasured it. So from there on to today's topic, which is Sardinian Knotted Embroidery. This is the piece that you can see the whole thing, yeah? Yep. This is the piece that I worked for on the front cover of my book. Whenever I work a piece for the front cover of a book, I know that it has to be fairly spectacular, because it needs to make the book eye-catching, and it needs to be one that makes you see the book and think, what is that? I need to know more. So this is what I put on the front of the book. Sardinian Knotted Embroidery comes from the town of Teulada in Sardinia. Sardinia is not in Scandinavia. A lot of people, when they see my book, say, "Oh, I don't have your Scandinavian one." No, it's not Scandinavian, it's Sardinian. If you know where Sardinia is, well, even if you don't know, I'm about to tell you where. Off the coast of Italy are two islands. The top one is Corsica, which belongs to France, and the bottom one is Sardinia, which belongs to Italy. That is not to say that Sardinians think of themselves as Italians. They think of themselves as Sardinians, and that's the way they want it to be. So I travelled with my family to the town of Teulada in Sardinia, and the people in the town put on a beautiful display of embroidered works for me to look at. They had none on public display at the time. I hope they do now. And I was able to talk with them about the embroidery and inspect it and learn from them. So this piece has on it quite a few different motifs that would be quite common. I'm holding this in such a way that that is upside down, so let me just show you the other edge. You can see it there, the right way up, and that is a cockerel. You've also got hearts here and here. These are small crosses, and these ones here, the lady described them to me as dentini, or teeth. Dentini would be, presuming, the Sardinian word rather than the Italian word. So you can see that it has beautiful texture. On the back, let me show it to you, there's practically nothing there. That surface is smooth, and that's because Sardinian knotted embroidery is worked from the front of the fabric, and if this is the surface of the fabric, you're just basically taking your needle under a thread on the surface of the fabric, which means it all sits on the surface of the fabric. So that design is created by hundreds of tiny little knots. So let me see if I can get in real close for you so you can see it. They are all tiny knots on the surface of the fabric. It's not very in focus, I'm sorry about that. And it's the most simple knot that you can do. It's counted coral knot stitch. Now for coral knot stitch, what you do is you put your needle in, you wrap it once and you pull it through, and that's a coral knot stitch, the easiest knot that you can possibly do, apart from the knots that we don't plan to do, which just happen as we're stitching. You know, those knots that we all get, the annoying ones that you then have to undo. So this type of knot is counted coral knot stitch. It's a very easy stitch. The thing that people find difficult is putting it in the right place. And that's why you would want to do a class with me or have a look at how to do it in my book, because it will show you step-by-step instructions. So this is the book, Sardinian Knotted Embroidery, White Work from Teulada. So you can see how Teulada is spelled, Teulada, Teulada. It's in the south of Sardinia. And it's an absolutely beautiful place. It's just a gorgeous little town, and the people there are incredibly proud of their embroidery, and it was lovely to spend that time with them learning. So I'll explain a little bit more about this to you as well. Traditionally they did it on about 28 count linen with a number 12 pearl cotton. Occasionally they did it a little bit thicker with a number 8 pearl cotton, but you have to have very good tension to use number 8 pearl cotton, because otherwise the knots turn out very, very chunky. So it's much safer, I think, to use number 12, because I find that many people don't have tight tension. You can see along the edge here is a needle lace edging. So that's made of scalloped buttonholes with a little picot on the edge. And that's a very traditional edging that's used in a lot of Italian needlework, and also here Sardinian needlework. It also has around the edge a hem-stitched edge, just here, this bit here. It's a very simple hem-stitched edge, and they would use hem-stitched edges quite regularly, and they might be even more elaborate than that. So the sorts of things that it was worked on were cloths for around the home and cloths for in the church, but traditionally where it came from was on the men's shirts in their regional costume. Sardinia, that part of Sardinia had, because of where it is, had many Spanish people come to it over the years, and so the men's costume is quite a Spanish-looking outfit. They had a white shirt with a very tall collar, so yeah, about that tall standing up, and all of that collar would be embroidered with this sort of embroidery on it, and it was quite spectacular. I think they had a black waistcoat as well, probably black pants, and a grey felt boater. It's probably not called a boater, but you know, I don't know the proper names for hats, so that's what I'm going to call it. And so I think the cuffs also would have had the embroidery on them as well, but the really big thing was these stand-up collars with the beautiful embroidery on it. When we were in Teulada, the night that we arrived, apparently there was a religious parade through the town where people wore their costume, and we didn't know it was on. So we didn't get to go and see it. And I just feel that that was such a missed opportunity, but if you don't know, you don't know. So, yeah. Oh well, one of those things. So if you went to the town of Teulada today, would you see any of the embroidery? I'm not entirely sure. I did speak to them about the idea of setting up somewhere within the town where people would be able to see the embroidery, and even if it's just the Tourist Information Centre, I think that would be better than nothing. So I hope that they have managed to do that in the time since, because it is such a beautiful embroidery, and it would be very worthwhile for them to bring tourists to their town to see the embroidery. So probably that's all I need to tell you about it today. People have been asking me if I'll do a demonstration of how to do this style of embroidery, and I would like to. At this stage though, I just don't feel that my videoing skills are up to it, and so I'm going to have to put it off for a while, I'm sorry. But please do stay tuned, because I do intend that at some point in the future I will do that. So thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate having a wonderfully encouraging audience who loves watching this. I hope you are doing well. I hope you're enjoying your stitching, and we'll get through these strange times together. Thanks very much. Bye.